Hello, my friend. I'm Dr. Robert Anderson. For over 30 years, I've worked in the field of cardiology and neurology here in the United States. I've met, spoken with, and held the hands of countless patients over the age of 50. Strong, confident people whose lives changed in just a single moment because of a stroke. I still remember one crisp autumn morning a few years back. A 62-year-old man named George walked into my clinic. He was cheerful, loved gardening, and cherished his family more than anything. But that day, his steps were uneven, and one side of his face had started to droop. He looked at me and said with a trembling half-smile, "Doctor, this morning I tried to pick up my coffee cup, and I just couldn't." That single sentence, changed the way I talk about strokes forever. Because most people think a stroke strikes out of nowhere. But in truth, it's quietly built over years. Through every salty meal, every sleepless night, every just one drink we think won't matter. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me that I haven't been listening to? Because a stroke isn't just a hospital story. It's a story about how we live, about our habits, our pace, and the quiet whispers within our blood vessels. Every 40 seconds in America, someone has a stroke. But here's what's truly heartbreaking. More than half of those cases could have been prevented if people had recognized the silent enemies growing inside them. I've seen so many people who believed they were healthy until that sudden day came. They exercised, but never checked their blood pressure. They ate well, but stayed up too late, stayed stressed, and forgot to drink enough water. They took care of everyone else, but forgot to take care of themselves. I know that after 50, the body doesn't speak loudly anymore. It whispers, and if we don't listen, we miss the most important warnings. A little fatigue, a brief dizzy spell, a mild tingling in your fingers, these might be gentle messages from your blood vessels, long before the storm arrives. So today, I want to sit down with you, like two old friends over a warm cup of tea, and talk about the 7 hidden factors behind most strokes that often go unnoticed. High blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, stress, sleep, and more. I don't want to scare you. I want to empower you to show that most of these risks can be managed through small, consistent choices made every single day. One of my patients, Helen, who's 68, told me this after recovering from a minor stroke. "I can't go back 20 years, but I can start living differently today." And that's exactly what I hope you'll feel from this video. A stroke is not the end. It's a gentle reminder that life is precious, and your body deserves to be heard. So, are you ready to explore the 7 hidden dangers behind strokes? And more importantly, to learn how to take back control of your own health? If you are, then let's begin together. I often tell my patients, after 50, your body doesn't respond the way it did at 30. But that doesn't mean it's weaker. It just speaks a different language. In our younger years, the body spoke through strength and resilience. Now it communicates through subtle signals. A dull ache in the knees, a restless night, or a wave of fatigue when climbing the stairs. That's not decline. That's the body's way of saying, "Please listen to me." One of my patients, John, a 67-year-old mechanical engineer, once came into my office looking worried. He said, "Doctor, I'm afraid I don't have the energy to tend my garden anymore." After a few weeks of therapy and simple changes in his diet, he not only regained his strength, he said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I realized I don't need to be young again. I just need to understand myself better at this age." I smiled, because that's the greatest secret to health after 50. It's not about fighting time, it's about working with it. Over the years, I've discovered that what ages people fastest isn't time, it's how they treat themselves. We stay up late to work, drink coffee instead of breakfast, eat in the car between errands, and tell ourselves, "I'm fine." But the body remembers. It records everything, in your heart, your liver, your kidneys, and even in the fine lines by your eyes. I want you to imagine this. Every cell in your body is like a tiny worker. When you sleep, they repair. When you eat right, they smile. But if you starve them with stress, alcohol, or constant worry, they burn out. And soon, the factory called your body starts to slow down. The good news is, the human body has an incredible ability to heal. Science shows that even small changes within just 3 months can transform your biology. When you sleep well, move your body for 30 minutes a day, and eat more greens, the genes linked to aging quiet down, while the genes for healing wake up again. I once asked a 74-year-old patient who recovered beautifully from a stroke, "What's your secret?" She smiled softly and said, "I learned to forgive my body every time it felt weak." That answer touched me deeply. Because it's true, health isn't just about the body, it's also about acceptance. When you stop resenting your body for not being what it once was, and start caring for it with gratitude, something magical happens. You begin to sleep better, remember more clearly, your skin glows, and most importantly, your spirit feels lighter. Because when the mind is at peace, the body follows. I know that at this age, many people feel like they're slowing down in a world that's speeding up. But slowing down doesn't mean stopping. It means seeing more clearly, tasting food more fully, breathing mornings more deeply, and finally recognizing that after all those years of rushing, you deserve to rest, to heal, and to love yourself again. If you're listening to me right now, perhaps you're ready for a new chapter in your health journey. A chapter not written by fear, but by wisdom. Not driven by resistance, but by a graceful partnership with time itself. Because aging isn't the enemy, it's a teacher. And health, my friend, is the most beautiful language of gratitude we can ever speak to our own body. Sitting in front of this camera today, I'm not just speaking as a doctor, I'm speaking as a man who's lived through sleepless nights, aching shoulders, and slow, quiet mornings that remind me time doesn't wait for anyone. But you know what? Turning 50, 60, or even 70 isn't the end of youth. It's the beginning of a more awakened chapter, a stage of life where we no longer have to prove anything to anyone. All we need now is to understand ourselves and choose a way of living that brings us peace. I once asked one of my patients, Margaret, 82 years old, still driving herself to my clinic with a head full of silver hair, "How do you manage to keep smiling every day?" She held my hand and whispered, "I choose happiness, doctor. I choose gratitude. Every time I can still breathe and see the morning light." That answer stayed with me, because true health isn't only found in medicine or diets, it's rooted in our attitude toward life. When you appreciate each morning you wake up, you're already healing yourself. I want you to think of your body as your lifelong friend, the one who has carried you through every chapter of life. It helped you love, work, raise children, build dreams, and endure pain you may have long forgotten. So maybe it's time to stop demanding perfection from it, and start thanking it for never giving up on you. Ask yourself this: when was the last time I truly listened to my body? Do I give it time to rest, or do I keep pushing it to run with the world's endless pace? If those questions make you pause for a moment, that pause itself is the beginning of transformation. Science tells us that the human brain can keep learning and healing at any age. The heart can grow stronger, the bones denser, and the memory sharper, as long as we believe it's never too late to begin again. I've seen 70-year-olds take up yoga and laugh like children. I've seen 65-year-old men quit smoking after 40 years and say, "It feels like I've been given a second life." Those aren't miracles, they're choices. You see, health isn't a goal to achieve, it's a journey to live with. It doesn't need to be perfect, only consistent and filled with kindness. Eat when you're hungry, rest when you're tired, laugh when you're happy, and forgive your body when it no longer moves the way it once did. Because in the end, every wrinkle tells a story. Every scar is proof of resilience, and every breath is a gift life is still giving you. If you're watching this right now, take a deep breath and gently say to yourself, "I'm still here. I still have another chance to love this body again." Because health, my friend, isn't about turning back time. It's about learning to walk gracefully through the present with a grateful heart and a peaceful soul. If this video speaks to you, please hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone you love, especially those stepping into their 50s or beyond. You never know, a simple video might spark a smile, a moment of hope, or even a life-changing choice for someone out there. I'm Dr. David Miller, and I'll always be right here with you on this journey to live well, live peacefully, and live with purpose.